But what exactly are they? The specifics of family customs and roles played within the family may be culture-bound, but the values out of which they emerge and which inform them are not. Sirach, in our first reading today, on this Feast of the Holy Family, sketches a picture of ancient family customs. But it is easy to look beneath them and find enduring values that speak to us today. The book of Sirach, dating to around 200 years before the birth of Jesus, belongs to ancient Israel's wisdom tradition. The wisdom tradition is a collection of insights gleaned from the successful living of life. It is instruction that provides a glimpse into a way of living that has brought happiness in the past, but it describes it in order to encourage similar behavior that will bring corresponding happiness in the present and the future. The reading for today is instruction about family life. It identifies the kind of living that will result in family harmony. Although the teaching originated from a society that was patriarchal, where the father was the head, and a perspective that was male-centered, it continues to have value for societies that do not share these biased points of view. The focus is to respect and obedience children, both male and female, owe their parents, both mother and father. Finally, it presumed that the children are adults, not young children. The final verses make that clear. My son, take care of your father when he is old. Grieve him not as long as he lives. Even if his mind fail, be considerate of him. Revile him not all the days of his life. The roles in families often change, Sirach says. The son who was once dependent on the father now becomes his father's caretaker. Despite the nature of the roles and the way they move from one person to another, mutual respect and care for those in need remains a constant. These values challenge us today, just as they did when Sirach wrote or when the letter to the Colossians was written. Mutuality, respect, and care for others should still be the backbone of our living together. Family life is about loving relationships. Heartfelt compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, Paul tells the Colossians, are the key to our relationships. Bearing with one another and forgiving one another are the way of life and the bond of perfection. There are mutual responsibilities. The challenge before us is to devise ways for husbands and wives to live in mutual esteem, for parents to honor the dignity of their children, at the same time children obey and show respect to their parents, for the elderly to protect the young, even as the young watch over the elderly. Our gospel today talks about the model of the Holy Family. This is the only account in any of our canonical gospels that gives us a glimpse of the years between the infancy of Jesus and the time of his ministry. Jesus was 12, on the cusp of becoming an adult, which he would become at age 13, to their way of thinking in those days. He stays behind in Jerusalem when Mary and Joseph begin the long trek back to Nazareth. Mary probably thinks he's with Joseph, and Joseph probably thinks he's with Mary, because women usually started off first because it took them longer to travel. The men's and women's groups would meet up again toward sunset. In this story, we find mutuality in relationships. We find compassion, kindness, and humility. We find obedience to parents along with respect for the uniqueness of children. In this portrait of the Holy Family, Jesus, who was the Son of God, submitted to his human mother and father. Mary and Joseph, who exercised authority over Jesus, also stood in wonder of him. Together, the members of the Holy Family observed the religious obligations of their faith. Adult Jewish men were required to observe in Jerusalem the 3 pilgrimage feasts of Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. If because of distance they were unable to travel 3 times a year, they were obligated to observe at least Passover in this way. The reading from Luke states that the parents of Jesus regularly met this obligation by participating in the week-long celebration. Jesus learned the importance of his faith from Mary and Joseph. Jesus, who in a year will assume the religious responsibility of an adult, stays behind in Jerusalem in the temple and engaged in informal question and answer sessions with the Sanhedrin. On feast days and Sabbaths, the Sanhedrin engaged in such sessions. His parents, when they found him there in the temple, were unprepared for this kind of behavior from Jesus. They were perplexed. Those in the temple area who heard the boy were astounded at his understanding and his answers. This account has much in common with Greco-Roman tradition, which includes an episode recounting the exploits of a hero while still a child. Mary questions her son, "Why have you done this?" His response to her is one of surprise. "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" There seems to be a conflict between Jesus' responsibilities of sonship in his relationship with Joseph and sonship in his union with God. However, in this account, he is faithful to both. That's the point of the story. Approaching adulthood, he begins to assume a public role. Having made a striking appearance in the temple, he returns to a life of obedience to his parents. The implications of these events and Jesus' words are not lost on Mary. She may not understand them now, but she keeps them in her heart. Did Jesus, who is God, learn from Mary and Joseph? I think so. He learned from their example how to be a good Jewish man, how to fulfill his obligations to his parents and his faith. Mary and Joseph taught Jesus those things. We teach in many ways. We teach by using words, but we also teach our children by actions. Actions speak louder than words. It reminds me of 2 songs. They were written within 4 years of one another in the midst of what was called a generation gap in the 1970s. One is Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapin. A child arrived just the other day, came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. He was talking before I knew it, and as he grew, he said, "I'm going to be like you, Dad. You know I'm going to be just like you." It's a sad song, really. The father gives the son a ball when he's 10, but is too busy to teach him how to throw. When the son returns from college, he asks for the car keys rather than spending time with his dad. Like two ships, they pass in the night. They never connect. There are always excuses from both of them until after the father is retired, he realized the son indeed grew up to be just like him. How sad. Spending quality time with family is important. There is, however, another song that illustrates family values that last and are enduring. It was written by Graham Nash and performed by Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Its advice was simple, really. Teach your children well. Feed them on your dreams. Just look at them and sigh and know they love you. Help your elders with your youth. Teach your parents well. Feed them on your dreams. Just look at them and sigh and know they love you. The song, Teach Your Children Well, speaks of having a code to live by, becoming yourself and seeking the truth. Those are true family values.